Well, the joys of driving a vehicle with 300,000 plus miles on it. Got my little voltage meter there reading 12.3 volts. You can see the odometer is 308,475.8 miles. When the grid heaters are on, it drops down a bit. But my alternator has died. Not charging at all. I did resistance tests on the wires, did all that. Just flat out died. So the joy of a 6G Ford alternator, I guess it's time to replace it with something a little more substantial. So I have me a Mechman on the way, and this video will be daily driving a Fummins. Time to upgrade the alternator. Here we go. The sad thing is, it doesn't even look that old. I don't know, it was on the truck when I bought the truck. So the previous owner put it on, and I just bought the brackets from DCS. So this is the Ford alternator and the Dodge EC pump. And why I didn't just use the Dodge alternator at this point, it is what it is. But I got on Mechman's website and ordered a 320 amp, and when it gets here, we'll get that put on. And we'll be replacing this factory Ford, what is this, like 6 gauge, probably 4 gauge maybe, I don't know, charging cable with 1/0, because that's what the Mechman alternator requires, and it's going to need a 1/0 negative cable directly from the alternator as well. So I have that wire on order. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring those wires up and come down to here and bring them across where the stock Dodge one was, and then I'll run it over to these terminal posts. And since I have military style posts now, that should be pretty easy. My only challenge is figuring out where I can put the A&L fuse holder, because I am definitely cramped over here with both batteries, and got my adrenaline and my fuse box, and I'm not really sure where the best place to put that is at this point. Alright, I got my 1/0 cable here. I ran it that way, and then I ran it where the stock Dodge one would go. So it's going to come up and come across the front of the motor and then over to the alternator. And since I don't have the Mechman yet, I don't know where it's going to bolt to, I just let it sit there for now. So I think my next step will be to mount my A&L fuse holder over on the wall over there, and then I can run the power cable from that across the same route and just let it hang here until I actually get the Mechman alternator, which isn't going to be here for another couple of days, so I got plenty of time. Well, I think I got about as much done as I can do until the alternator itself gets here. I ran over the 1 gauge, or 1/0, not 1 gauge wires. I followed the path the stock Dodge would have used. I reused the same stud, and I just put a different strip on it. Then I have these 1/2 inch binder things that I think are meant for like fuel hose, but they seem to just fit this wire perfectly, so I use those to kind of keep the wire together. Put another one right here. And then the negative terminal's running to right here. And then the positive is running to this A&L fuse holder that I installed up here. And so when the alternator gets here and I know where this wire is running to, I'll cut it off, and then I'll use the piece that comes off of that, and I'll run from here over to here. Should be a pretty fast install once the alternator gets here. It's like 3 bolts, a couple of 4 more ends and heat shrink, and then I'll have 1/0 ground and power, just like Mechman suggests, running straight there. But now I'm waiting on UPS, so yeehaw. Big stretch. Alright, my Mechman got here. Came with some directions in a box. I don't do unboxings. Sorry. Looks like mine does about 207 amps at idle at 800 RPM, which will be great because I think the stock one was only 90 amps, so that should be sufficient. Came with a 1-aught terminal and a little pigtail, which I think I'm just going to end up cutting because I don't even have my stock wiring anymore, and just putting a thing and putting it right there. We'll see. So here we go. Time to bolt it in. Here they are side by side. They look mostly the same, except one's blue. This one has a smaller pulley on it. And then the thing is here for the wire instead of down here, and it's got a different plug on it. And then a much bigger back case. So all this stuff now is to get it bolted on and see if it works. Alright, got it bolted in. My wires are ran. Negative from there, positive from there. They go across and over. Just got to put my hot pipe back in and then go wire up the A and L fuse and see if it works. I think I already said that once, but I ran out of positive cable. Don't have a long enough chunk. So I'm actually going to end up using the black cable for positive, but I'll put red shrink wrap on it. And maybe someday my OCD will get to me and I'll replace it. But for now, it'll work. And there she is. I just got to bolt everything in and deal with one more issue. So you see, one of the challenges of owning a custom vehicle is that you never know when you get something new if it's going to fit together. And it turns out that in a stock 73, the hot pipe does not sit right here, and they can put that bolt right there, but I'm not sure I'm comfortable with that positive hitting my hot pipe. So I think I'm going to have to get some kind of insulation in there and then build a new hot pipe that routes differently. But problem for another day, hopefully. Well, the iDash is showing 14.4, 14.5 volts at idle. This little thing showing 14.5. If I rev it up, it goes up a little bit, comes back down. So I think 14.5 is going to be its happy place. Time to go for a drive and find out.